Hey, everybody. Michelle is here. I thought I'd come on through and talk about a subject I hadn't talked about in a while. Is these narcissistic, sociopath, psychopath personalities and how they materializes themselves. And I told you a lot of them come up in politics. And so you would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't just silently, just observe how some of these politicians operate and kind of pick up on it without necessarily, it's somewhat of a discernment so that you can recognize certain characteristics about them. And that way you can hopefully teach your children, the importance of not morphing themselves into those type of personalities, because if you find your child lying is one of the biggest things. Being very secretive is another one. Not necessarily socializing with people or socializing with children their age. Staying inside all the time, playing video games and this and that and the other. You really just have to kind of monitor that and pay attention to that. And but the main thing is how they socialize with other children their age. Some of them will gravitate towards older children, and then some of them will navigate towards younger. So it's everything. You just have to make sure you're monitoring how they are interacting with other children, and see if you can kind of snap them out of that type of personality that could potentially lead them to, a narcissistic type of personality, where they, especially, like I said, lying is one, just telling a lie for no reason to lie, but they can easily pick up those type of habits. And before you know it, my goodness, they're lying about every little thing when they don't need to. Yes, it's not necessary. But yeah, if you pay attention to some certain politicians, because I do, there's plenty of them. There's plenty of politicians, also people in businesses, businesses as well, in certain government positions and this and that and the other. I mean, they're everywhere, and we need to also take the opportunity to understand it, all of us, because those type of personalities affect our lives. They affect our lives, and for me, I'm thankful and I'm not thankful because I dealt with that kind of stuff early on in the relationships that I had. And, and sometimes you do need to be involved in a certain type of relationship with people, whether it's a good, bad, ugly, but so that you can build yourself up and be able to recognize it. Because before you know it, you end up going back to the same type of personality if you don't understand what you've had. I knew when I was being used. I knew when I was being taken advantage of. But I told you, stuff never really penetrated into my feelings. And I think that was an advantage for me. Because if it had penetrated into my feelings, chances are I would have kept just meeting that all over and over and over and over again. Those type of personalities. You know what I mean? It's easy, no matter if you're a visual person, auditory person, or someone, that does operate in your feelings. If you allow anything to penetrate into your feelings, you'll be gravitated towards that type of personality, because you're unconscious usually, and you don't know that you are, and you like that type of, personality, because they're fantastic with how their charisma, they may be. Some of them may be really attractive. Some of them may be really popular, because that type of personality loves attention as well. They love it. So they'll do everything in their power to have a lot of attention, have a lot of people around them, have a lot of people loving, being so, people, what is it, all around them and praising them all the time, telling them how wonderful they are and how fantastic, that people feeding that false persona that they have. Oh man, you're just such a great leader, and all that bullshit. So it's fascinating to pay attention to it. I pay attention to that stuff all the time, And I used to watch those type of programs on TV when I had my television or when I had cable. I don't have that stuff now. And I would watch that stuff over and over and over again just to pick up stuff. Pick up little bits and pieces of personalities and, and how to read people and how to understand them. Now, it doesn't mean I won't meet up with problems. But I'll know how to handle them. And I told you the reason I can is, like I said, I don't let stuff penetrate into my feelings. In other words, I don't take stuff personal per se. Yes, I get hurt just like everybody else, but I don't take it all personal and blame myself. I just tell myself, okay, you just need to look out for it next time. Because I usually get signs of it right away. I know when I'm being used. I know when I'm being taken advantage of. I know when I'm being made a fool of. And like I said, it doesn't penetrate into my feelings. So I'll get over it. I get over stuff very well without holding grudges. Nope, I'm not gonna hold a grudge. I'm not gonna be, chances are, I may show a little anger because it is a waste of time. But usually when I say show a little anger, usually it's towards myself. I'll say, gosh, blah 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 blah. Because narcissistic people do not change. And if psychiatrists and psychologists were honest with people about that, they'll tell you that. And you'll find, because a lot of people, like I said, keep going back to those narcissistic people. They'll leave them, go back to them, leave them, go back to them. And it's frustrating for a lot of people because, you'll get yourself involved with that person and they'll say, yeah, they're over this narcissistic person. But then as soon as that person calls them, or as soon as that person's in jail, as soon as that person needs some kind of help, as soon as that person is stranded somewhere, guess what happens? Right? So they run right back to them. So, or you get in the middle of it, like I said, thinking that it's over, and you're in the middle of all of that, and then you might end up getting hurt, right? So it's a plague that robs people of interpersonal relationships. It really does, and it's unfortunate, but that's what we're up against, because we like I said, we're so overwhelmed. We want things quick. There's always some type of interference and manipulation, or there's always something that causes us not to necessarily get close to people, because a lot of people fear that. A lot of people fear getting hurt. A lot of people fear, the close and intimacy with someone. And even though they get on social media and everywhere else begging to be with someone, they still don't know how to be with someone or be close to people. And so that's why we always saying that, yeah, you do need to work on yourself, but you need to work on how you manage your emotions. Men can be just as emotional as women. We all can be very emotional, and be all in our feelings, as everybody said, or likes to say, I should say. And then, you have to neutralize your masculine and feminine. You have to neutralize that and not be so extreme in one way or another. Like I said, like these feminine straight men, or these masculine straight women, or masculine gay women, or whatever, whatever people are labeling themselves now. I really don't know. I haven't had time too much to be really keeping up with it, because it changes so much. Then, all this labeling, it changes and rolls over so quickly. So I don't know what's going on per se in that area. But as I said, the interpersonal relationships, yes, is and it is important to be aloneness, but don't be aloneness and ruminating about the fact that you don't have anybody. Ruminate about, and visualize about, what you want, and ask for ask for steps to get there. When you're ruminating or alone, when you're alone and you're ruminating, that's worse than being with the narcissistic person. Because, you're thinking of, and you're overthinking about it and saying, you vowing that you'll never meet a person like that again. And sometimes you will, if you're not conscious of it and know that that's what you have. And, and take ownership of your contributions as well as how you ended up with that type of person. Is it because they were so, so attractive? They got tattoos all over them, got tattoos. They seem to be, what is, I don't know what it is really. I think a lot of it is that charisma they have, or a certain kind of look they have, a certain kind of swag. I don't know what they call it now, whether it's swag or whatever. But it's a fake persona. Basically, we all have fake personas sometimes. It all depends. But I'm very confident, and that's not arrogant. I'm just confident. And like I said, I dealt with a lot of people over the course of my life, and so that prepared me to build myself up and to be confident too. All the experiences I have. So there's a lot of people who want to avoid experiences. And they try to intellectualize themselves out of experiences, thinking that they can intellectualize that. No. And they're going to, and the longer they keep believing that, they're just wasting a whole lot of time when they can just get it over right now. And just deal with things head on and be realistic about it. And not try to intellectualize everything. There's plenty of that. You need to experience stuff. And that means you need to get your hands dirty. Whether you're male or female, you need to get your hands dirty. What does that mean? You need to get out and be, interacting with people. Whether they're a negative or positive influence on you. You need to know what that feels like, what it looks like, and what it sounds like. To be around that, whether it's a positive amount of energy or negative. You need to know what that's like. So that you can, know how to build yourself up to be able to handle it better. Okay, by avoiding it may be, you may run into some problems if you want to avoid that kind of stuff. Okay, so, there's a lot to life, but there's more against us than for us because of, how long we've been lied to, manipulated, and how we've allowed ourselves to be lied to and manipulated. We're overpopulated. There's war. There's a possibility of nuclear weapons, the environment. So there's all other factors that come in. And like I said, for all the stuff that I've read, and I've read a lot, this period of time that we're going through has never existed. So anybody coming in thinking they're experts on it, per se, you can say you're an expert in some range of it, but an expert of all of it, just be a little leery. Like I said, just take information from everybody. Take information from me, everybody. And then see how you can use it to better yourself or better the people that you love or better the people that you're teaching or better the people, whatever you're doing in your life to help people. Okay? So I just thought I'd share that and let you know that, it's not going to be easy anymore. And anyone who tells you that they know, the formula to all of this, that, just be a little more conscious of that. And like I said, take the information you need that may help you to build yourself up, to build your confidence, and allow you to accept your reality. Because some of us may not get to that type of interpersonal relationship that we want. So can we settle for something else? And you ought to have backup. You need to have all kind of backups in your life, regardless. Okay, so I just want to send peace and love out. Tell people again, just be gentle with yourself. Don't ruminate, and that's overthinking stuff. And and get out in nature. Touch some trees. I know a lot of people get all upset when people. You just have to be really careful with people when they deny the power of nature. Just be real suspicious of those type of people. Go out there and touch touch a tree, smell the flowers, you know, be grounded in the grass, be grounded when you're walking. You know, those things are important. Pay attention to what animals are doing. Okay, they're the teachers as well. Okay, so I want to send peace and love, everyone. Talk to you soon, and trust me, I'll be back.